Hi, everyone. I am here with Darlene Queener. She is another one of our breast cancer survivors. And I met Darlene here locally in Morristown. Gosh, when was that, Darlene? When you bought your franchise here?
Many years ago.
Many, yeah.
I can
Was probably we got ours 2007,
2006.
so it was probably 2008, 2000
That's what I
something.
was thinking. 2006, 7, 8, somewhere right around there.
Yeah, because I was here and then I think you bought, so it was 2000, I think it was 2008 maybe for you that we met for the first time. And what year was it that you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
I was diagnosed in 2014, June of
Into
2014.
Okay. And so was it just did you have a suspicion and go in for a mammogram, or you just went for your annual mammogram?
Well, funny story is because I did have my business at the time and I was very busy. I
Hmm.
had this little note on my phone that kept popping up that said, schedule your mammo.
Uh-huh.
And my family kept saying, Mom, what is your mammo? What is this memo thing that you need to schedule? And so we kind of had a running joke, and I'm like, I need to get that scheduled because I knew I was way past due. And
Uh-huh.
one day I was at work, and the breast center called me and said, Mrs. Queener, you're way past due for your mammogram. Can we schedule that today? I said, yes. Let me sit right down, check my calendar. And so it happened my mom had an appointment at the building next to it. So I said, are you available on this day? Yes, we made an appointment. So, long story short, I dropped my mom off at her appointment. I said, Mom, I'm going to run right over here, get this mammogram out of the way, and I'll be right back to pick you up. Well, it didn't happen like that. I went over, and, they called me back. Of course, had me take my shirt off. I went in, got had the mammogram done, thinking, okay, I'm just going to pop in, pop out. Well, she was very, what's the word I want to use? Discreet about it, I guess is a good word. And she
Okay.
said, well, Mrs. Queener, with your family history, because my mom and her sister and several aunts and cousins that had breast cancer, she said, the doctor may want to take a look at it before you leave. So just keep your gown on and let me just check with the doctor first. Again, not thinking anything. I'm like, okay, that sounds logical. So I'm back out to the waiting room. And then they called me back and they called me into a room. And of course, there you see that x-ray or that mammogram picture up on the wall. And immediately I was like, oh, this isn't good. And
Oh,
I said, this isn't, it gives me chills to think about it. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
this isn't good, right? And she goes, well, we did find something. And she said, we would like to um, test further. And I said, okay, well, tell me what you need to do. We'll, do.
Yeah.
And so she said, well, we would like to biopsy it. Or actually, she said, first of all, we want to do an ultrasound. And, if we can do an ultrasound, pinpoint it, then we can mark it and maybe even do a biopsy. The doctor that does that is here. I said, well, yes. I said, whatever you need to do, do it. I said, this is, I've got this in my history. I want it done and, taken care of since possible.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
fortunately, they were able that very same day, which is such a God thing because that usually doesn't happen. They were able
Hmm.
to get me back to do a ultrasound, and of course, I had to wait a little bit. And I asked them, I said, "Hey, can I put my clothes back on? My mom is probably worried sick, wanting to know what's going on because it's been a little while yet." And I said, "My mom's next door. I need to go pick her up from her doctor." So I went and got her, and then she came back with me, and immediately she said, okay, what's wrong? And I said, well, they found a little something. I said, kind of poo pooed it off. I said, they just want to check it. I said, but, I didn't want you waiting for me. So she comes back over, holds my hand while they did the ultrasound. And then they marked it and
Hmm.
with some kind of little marker inside. And then they did a biopsy right there. The doctor said, I'll let you know in 24 hours, what it comes
Yeah.
back as. So I'm said, okay, great, and so they were wonderful. This was at the Knoxville Comprehensive Breast Center. And
Hmm.
so then, of course, I go home, just, it doesn't leave your mind. Next
Sure.
day, almost 24 hours exactly, I get a call. And I sat down at my desk at work and they said, well, it is cancer. And we, wanted to, but it's very small. That's the one thing they said. It's very small. We feel like we've caught it early. And I said, okay, I want this out of my body tomorrow. My calendar is clear.
Is
I said,
yeah,
nothing else matters at this moment but getting that cancer out of my body. So if you can,
right.
the moment you can get me into that operating room, let's go for it. So
Yeah.
they said, well, it will take a little bit. And this was in June, middle of June. It was the end of July before they were able to get me in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but so I had met, with the oncologist, and my daughters wanted me to have it here in uh, Nashville, have the surgery and everything, so they could be with me and take me to appointments. Because I was just going to do it over there. I'm like, I have a tendency to simplify everything, so I'm like, okay, well, they'll just go take it out, and I'm getting on with my life. This is not going to take me down.
Right,
Once I
right.
got
Yeah.
Now, of course, it took me a little bit to get there because I remember sitting in the waiting room waiting to go back in between after I got the news that they found something. And
Uh-huh.
I just remember just sitting there thinking, okay, don't cry. Don't cry. There's other women around here. They're going in. You don't want to freak them out. Just hold it together. Hold it together. And I remember
Yeah.
that morning, one of my friends had posted on Facebook, uh, and I'm my brain is losing the exact quote, but not to worry, but and it's my favorite verse, and I'm losing it, but to put all, have the peace that surpasses understanding. So
Yes. Mhm.
I just kept, going over that in my mind, going over that in my mind. And I'm like, okay, you got this. You guys got this. It's okay.
Yeah,
Kept it together because I just wanted to like melt right there and think, because
I'm
all these other
sure.
ladies were sitting there. I'm like, you can't just have, let it go. So then, and I went and got my mom. And so, anyway, so then my daughters, when I told them it was cancer, and my husband at the time, I said, they said, okay, well, we want you to come back here in Nashville, have it here at Vanderbilt, And so I asked my oncologist over there, and he said, yeah, I've got somebody I went to school with, that's a great. He works Vanderbilt. He got referred me, so I went to him, and then they got me in at the end of July, and then they were able to do my. At the time they said I could have a lumpectomy because it was so small, and they could just go in with the one breast and take the spot out,
Mhm.
and and then I may have to have treatments or I may not. And then my other option was to do a full mastectomy. And I talked, first of all, I thought, okay, great, a lumpectomy, that's not too bad. And then I talked to several friends who had had it and had a lumpectomy and then had to go back and had a full mastectomy.
Yes.
So it
I
didn't
was
take
gonna
me.
say I had a friend that happened 10 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 10 years
So,
later.
and they all advised us, Darlene, you should just, this is what I would do if I had to do over a dental mastectomy. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking, I was 50 at the time. I just turned 50. And I said, okay, with my family history and considering all things, I'm like, no, let's do it. I am not defined by
Do
my
both things.
boobs. Just, it didn't take long. I decided I'll do a full mastectomy and then do,
Right.
and do reconstruction because I
Hmm.
didn't want to, didn't want to have to worry about the prosthetics. I see my mom, and I know those were uncomfortable a lot of times with the bras and stuff. So I thought, well, I
Right.
will go ahead and do the reconstruction. And so that's what we did. They removed my breast at that time and started the reconstruction at that point. Put in the spacers, and
Did you do both?
I
Did you do both double
yes,
mastectomy? Okay.
I did a double mastectomy, and then they put in the spacers to begin the reconstruction process. First
Okay.
time I'd ever been put to sleep. It was like a 10-hour surgery,
Oh
and
gosh.
I had always thought that if I had to be put to sleep for any reason, I would be terrified. And I've got to tell you, I had so many people with curves and so many friends and family praying for me. And
Yeah.
can say I was completely at peace going in, which was like, again, a peace that surpasses all understanding because
Understanding.
I
Yeah.
never thought I would ever be facing, especially that long of a surgery.
10
Having never
hours. That's crazy.
Yeah, never having been put to sleep. But it was because of the reconstruction as well. That mastectomy didn't take that long. But
Okay.
so I went in, and my family was on the waiting room. I did great. and no problems. And woke up. They scheduled my final reconstruction for November.
Hmm.
So this was in the end of July. And then in September the 11th, as a matter of fact, I had this fever and I was like, gosh, I just felt terrible. So I called my oncologist um, and my uh, reconstruction guy. I can't think what that's called. Oh, doggone it, plastic surgeon. My
Plastic
plastic
surgeon,
surgeon.
yes. Okay. I was like,
And
what?
so he said, "Yeah, well, come in. Let me take a look at it." Well, it turns out one of my spacers had got infected, so they had
Oh,
to take that out and I had to go back in surgery, take that out, and redo that. So they
mm,
redid that. Then in November 2nd, to be exact, I had the full reconstruction where they put I chose to go with the process where they take my belly fat because I'm like, I got that stuff anyway, might as well use it.
okay.
I just had I had a very good positive attitude through the whole thing, which really
Hmm.
was helpful for me because I guess I had in my mind with my mom already having it, and it was so prevalent in my family that I was one day going to have to face this. So I guess when it hit
Yes.
me, it was like, wow, I expect to face it, just not this early because my mom was
Yeah.
70 when she was diagnosed.
Oh, wow.
So, and I was 50. So I was like, wow. So I decided to use my tummy fat and use that. Which made for a longer procedure and surgery, but they used that and rebuilt my breast. And so then I was in ICU for, I think it was 5 or 6 days. And I was fine. They just had to monitor me very closely. And
Sure.
so then I had a wonderful nurse there who
Hmm.
noticed, I think like after the second or third day, I can't remember exactly, but she called my plastic surgeon and she said, I think there's a little bit of problem with the left breast. Well, come to find out, it didn't take.
Oh,
And so I started having issues. Well, they had to go take me back into surgery and they used my um, back latissimus dorsi back muscle to rebuild that breast
that
because that
pocket.
was
Yeah.
my problem.
Uh-huh.
So, but after they did that, it was fine.
Okay.
It was, I had a few little setbacks, but it came back that there was no cancer in my lymph nodes.
Good.
Hallelujah. So I
Okay.
did not have to do any kind of chemo because I did go so drastic. I didn't have to do
Uh-huh.
any kind of chemo or radiation.
Okay, good.
So yeah, and so while I've got scars, battle scars, I still feel like it was the best
Choice.
decision for me.
Hmm.
And as my doctor said, the cancer may come back somewhere else, but it's definitely going to come back in the breast.
Yeah.
So I've been 11 years out, not had any problems since then. After that, it's a long year of surgeries and going back in and
Sure.
fixing things, but I I feel like that it was my calling to, I don't know why I got it, but I said, okay, well, this is not going to be, um, this is not going to take me down. It may
Sure.
hold me for a minute or be a bump in the road, but I've been able to help a lot of other women as they've been diagnosed and go through it.
Hmm.
Um, and just to help them through it because
Yeah.
I feel like I went through all the emotions that all women I think probably go through when you first get that news. It's just like it pops you upside the head
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my gosh, what's this going to do? I've got kids. I didn't have grandbabies or anything at that time, and I'm like, you know I and my mom was a success story. She, it wasn't even her cancer. She died of, old age and other things.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I knew I had a long history of women who had fought it and, done well. So I'm like, okay, I've got this.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to share my story, share my, even, I've showed lots of women, my scars and, what my, reconstruction looks like to give them hope or help them make a better decision for whatever they decide to do.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
So,
Yeah.
so anyway, I feel like I've become a much stronger, more I love life. I've always loved life, but I love
Yes.
every second of life now because I realize how, um,
Precious and
oh,
fragile it is.
yes, absolutely, how precious it is. And I savor the little things in life because it's like, every day I wake up and it's like, I've got a day here that, I want to, and I've decided that I'm making memories. It's like if somebody invites me to
Yeah.
do something, I drop whatever it is, unless, of course, work or something that I'm committed
Right.
to. But it's like I'm gone. If I get a chance
Yeah.
to travel, I'm gone. It's like
You're
it's
gone.
just
I
yeah.
love it. That's
It's
great.
like I'm gonna live life because one thing you leave behind is memories. Learned that in
Sure.
losing my mom, and you can have all the material possessions and everything in the world, but the one thing people are going to remember most about you is your memories. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm like, okay, I'm making them
You're doing it.
with
You're
my
doing it.
grands,
I
yeah,
love
with my
it.
kids, and just living life.
I love
So
it. I
there's
love
life
it.
after breast cancer, and it can be, it can be the best years of your life. It's a you know
Yeah.
and I know, some women have much harder battle than I did, and I'm thankful that mine was not. It was hard enough. My
Yeah.
heart goes out to the women who do have to go through chemo or treatments. I know I went through that with my mom and saw how difficult that could be, so I was
Yes.
just praise God that I didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And, just happy to help other women
I
walk
think
through
that
that
that was
journey.
the same case with Dawn. When she opted to have her double mastectomy, she did not have to have the chemo or radiation either.
Oh,
So
that's
she's 22 years out.
see, that's
She's 22
fantastic.
years. Yes, I've got to get her where she's busy. So she's the one that got me back into this.
Uh-huh.
She's called me and she says, "Okay, we need to have lunch and I need you to bring a notepad."
Well, she's great. She is such a
I
warrior, and
know, yeah. Yeah.
and,
Did you
and
come to my house? Did you do the one where we did the pink gloves and
I
the
did.
yes,
Yep, actually,
okay.
I did.
Yeah,
I've
you did. That's
still
right.
got my pictures. Still
Do
got my
you?
pictures.
Oh, yeah,
And
that
I
was so
even did the video of the being in the ring too. The whole thing. It really a lot of fun, and
yeah, and you know that Marcella, I did her story last night,
mm-hmm,
and Marcella, she was the one that was dressed in the black robe. She was actually cancer, and you
uh-huh.
know, it was like in 2000, well, it was 2000. Whoa, I forget what year it was, but
Been
it
a
was
few
the
years
year, yeah, it was the year after that that she got diagnosed,
ago. Mm. And she
and
didn't even
she
have
went.
it at the time, right?
No,
Dude, she was just
no,
hoping that.
she had a very she was actually taking a bath and she was bathing and her arm she felt something and she's like, well, that wasn't there. And
Mm.
what was really crazy was hers was like some sort that was an extremely aggressive, fast growing.
Oh wow.
And so she opted to have she did the lumpectomy and she had to have that red devil
Mm.
chemo
Yeah.
and then she did radiation and stuff. So um but she's doing good. She's let's see, what, 10 years out now, I guess.
Oh, that's
I
fantastic.
think so.
Yeah.
10, I think I can't remember, but
Isn't it long?
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's close because
Mm.
you were 2014.
Uh-huh.
No,
And
you were 2014 that you were diagnosed, right?
right. Hmm.
Okay. And so I went in, so she was at least 2017, 18, somewhere in there,
Mm.
because I was at that gym over there and I didn't go in over there until this 2016. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so she was in that sometime in that
That's
frame.
mm.
It's crazy. So
It,
yeah,
and it affects so many women, and I know it affects some men too, but so many women that I've met, even through my job, just talking with them, they'll bring it up something about a cancer survivor, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a Jew, and just sharing stories. It's like once you're thrown into that, it's like it's a sisterhood of like, okay,
yeah.
it's like you have a connection there that, and
Hmm.
everybody has a story. And
Yes.
and I think we're meant to, like I said, go through things to help others and help
Hmm.
other women coming along. And And that's what I feel like Dawn has done. She's been amazing with,
Yes.
this whole, doing all this recognition, for,
Yeah.
to draw attention to it and give other
Yeah.
women, the encouragement that, I actually had a friend that I had invited to do this with me, and she is pretty recent. She's gone through, she's just getting, recovering from her, all the surgeries and, that.
Hmm.
And I had asked her if she wanted to share, and she said, "No, I'm really not ready." I'm like, "That's okay." I'm like,
That's okay. Yeah.
it's okay. Not everybody deals with it the same, because that's what I told her.
No.
I said I dealt with it with a lot of, humor, and it's like, okay, that's just how I deal with things. And um, but I said everybody deals differently. So
Yeah.
you take your time. If you're never ready to talk about it, that's okay. But if
Yeah.
sometime you want to, here's an avenue that of, you know, support and that. So
Right. Do you know what I just remembered when you said that about how you just just you handle everything with cheer and laughter kind of thing. You kind of jokes. But I remember you weren't wearing tennis shoes and you all ran around that track and you were the only one running barefoot. And I was like, Darlene, your poor feet. And you told me, you said, ever since I shut down my gym, I've refused to put on another pair of tennis shoes.
that's true. And I think at the time, I think I had heels on, and you had called me kind of, it was last minute thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think I have a pair of, uh, um, yoga pants in the car. And I
Yeah.
think just like whatever I have on. I'm like, I can go barefooted. I mean, I'm a hillbilly. I'm a country girl. That's my preferred way of, anyway, is barefoot. So
Barefoot.
it wasn't that much of a stretch.
Barefoot sandals were designed for you.
Exactly. And I still don't wear tennis shoes, actually.
You still don't? Oh
No,
no.
I do have one pair because I was going somewhere, I think Dollywood or somewhere, that I needed a pair of walking shoes, and I did buy them. But I'm like, nah, this just doesn't work for me.
Anymore.
But I
I
don't wear
still
heels
wear
much
them
anymore
every
either.
day. I
Yeah.
still wear them every day. Still
Oh, do you
training
really?
people. Yeah, still training people and
Oh,
stuff.
that's
So
wonderful.
yeah,
That's
so
wonderful.
um
I just can't get motivated. I mean, I'm busy constantly, but as far as actually working out and pushing it, I'm just like, I just can't get
not
there.
there. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But
Uh, that's
I
why I
know, but
said.
you're conscientious. Your health,
Eh,
your just your whole mindset is healthy. So,
mm. Well, I
it's
just had a physical yesterday, and everything is great.
oh
All
good.
my numbers came back good. I do have a little bit of little high on the cholesterol, but other
Hmm.
than that, everything was great. So I was like, oh,
That's
thank
wonderful.
Jesus. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
really your mental health, keeping yourself in a good place mentally, really
Yes.
helps to keep that. Because I'm like, I'm not worrying about life. God's got it, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
I said when I was going into surgery. I'm like, okay, the way I see it, I'm a winner. I'm not ready to die and leave this world because I got I've got grandbabies. I know that's got to be on the way sometime, and
Yeah.
my kids, and I've got a lot of life I want to live, but you know, um,
It's
I'm
that
going to
attitude.
live in heaven, or I'm going to live here. So either
Right.
way, I'm a winner, and so I just had that kind of a mindset as I went under for that first time, and like I said, I think that just gave me the peace. Otherwise, if you told
Sure.
me a year before, I would have been, you're insane, because I was always saying I would probably go get plastic surgery if I wasn't so afraid of going under the knife and being put to sleep, and
It's
so
like me. I'm afraid I have friends that have things done, and I'm like, I'd like to do that, but mine would probably might be not turn out so well. I don't
that's
know. It's like,
no, that's what I said. I've
oh,
always
that's scary.
I've
I'm a little
always
bit
said I
afraid to
would
do it.
never do plastic surgery or that. I'm like, you just need to grow old age gracefully.
Gracefully.
But as the years have really started showing on my face, I'm like, a little nipper tuck here and there
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
hurt
know,
so much.
right?
But yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
So let me ask you a question before we started your actual story. We got into conversation, and you know, there's a lot of women out there, and it's been brought to my attention. Marty Masters at Just About You, the Caring Place for
Hmm.
Women. She was sharing her story, and so Dawn is doing this, and I don't know if I talked about this before, but she's doing this for. She's participating in the Dash for the Cure in London, Kentucky. That's where
Yeah.
she works out of. There's not anything here locally in our community that's doing anything really for
Hmm.
cancer, breast cancer right now, and breast cancer awareness. So the funds that she's raising, they have certain three, I think two things that they're going to be contributing to, I believe. But then some of the money is going to be circled back into Marty's place, Just About You,
Hmm.
um, because Marty's place is the only place from, I think, from, she has people that come to her from Bristol, just all over, because all the little boutiques that used to provide things for women with cancer, of all kinds of cancer, not just breast cancer, there's not a place for them to go. They've all shut down. And so she has people coming to her from all different areas, great distances, actually. Um, so some of the money is going to go back and be directed into her business locally here.
Fantastic.
So that, yeah, so that, sometimes women come in and maybe their insurance doesn't cover everything or something, but she says they will never turn anyone away. So
That's
just to be able to sew into that, and that resource is there because, like I said, it's for any kind of cancer that someone
Mhm.
goes through. So that is one thing. But in that process, now I don't know that she has, you were discussing about in your reconstruction, and I know that she made the comment that when she did her reconstruction, she did go to have the nipple reconstruction, but she said it was, and then she ended up having to go back. She's had cancer, I think, like 5 times now.
oh my, oh my goodness.
Yes, Marty has. Yes, she's different types, but she ended up having to go back in and have she reconstruction, and then she ended up, I think, having to have it just take it out. She
Mhm.
was having too much trouble. So, but she was talking about how that if she had it to, if she did the reconstruction, or if she talked to someone, she would tell them not to do the nipple reconstruction, because she said you were kind of like ice cold all the time.
Well, yeah, that's
So there, because and so you were talking about that they actually have prosthetics
yes,
for that. I get my tongue twisted every time I say that word. But that they actually have those in prosthetics that you
they
can
do.
use.
They're like silicone and they stick on, and they're like
Oh,
all different sizes and shapes and colors, and then you just choose the one that looks, most like what yours were or what
but
you
you would
want.
like it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So and they stick on. They kind of like adhere to your I guess the warmth of your body, and stick
Yes.
on. And there's they
Ah.
come in with a
Well,
little
that's
thing
a
that.
great option. It's amazing the things that they have out there now that, help women like that. And not even that, just, I mean, like they have that stuff, those things called cakes now that you can wear so you don't even have to wear a bra. And it's the
Mhm.
silicone thing that just adheres to
Right.
your breast as well. So
Hmm.
those are just very convenient. They just kind of come out. You have to know that the whole thing with breast reconstruction and all that stuff has kind of fueled that industry to come up with better options for women. And I'm
Hmm.
thankful for that. I'm thankful for women who have expressed their voice and the things that they need, and the things that, because I've never been through it,
Hmm.
and every woman handles things differently.
Absolutely.
And I can only um, begin, just try to even imagine of a woman, going in and having to have a mastectomy. And then it's like that, what do I do now? It's those unanswered questions. But you had been through it with your mom. So
Hmm.
you had seen that, you'd walked through that journey. My only exposure to it is with all of you all.
Hmm.
So getting to know, I've learned a lot working with Dawn over the years in this area. So yeah,
Well, I know, like with me, it was a personal decision. Like I said, my mom had only had one breast removed, and I saw that prosthesis, so I knew that was not going to be an option for me. It was like I
sure.
just don't want to deal with it. I like to go, I like to wear bathing suits and go swimming and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to, worrying about
Yeah.
that. And then on the other hand, I decided not to have my nipples replaced. They could not save mine. Um, and I don't know why, but they couldn't. And so I decided not to have them rebuilt,
Hmm.
and because for one, there's no feeling. So it's like, okay,
Sure.
why? And like you said,
Why?
just like
Right.
it's cold all the time. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't have to wear, and they're nice and perky. So you're built new ones. So it's like
Hmm.
don't have to wear a bra if I don't want to, or if I'm wearing some cute little summer top that's backless, I don't have to wear a bra or find a bra that fits it. And
Yeah.
there's nothing showing through to
Sure.
you can't
It's
look at
actually
yourself.
convenient.
It is. It's very
Yeah.
convenient. So I use that as a positive. And like I said, if I did get those silicone nipples, so which I rarely ever use those, but I'm like, okay, if I am feeling like, okay, I don't really like the way I look today, put those on and
There you go.
yeah, if but
And we're
again,
off.
yeah, it's like, or if I just want to, have that look, I can, but most of the time it's not. It's like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I've come to a place in my life that I am happy in who I am. I,
Hmm.
scars and all. This is who I am. And,
Yeah.
if
I love it.
if anybody wants to, if I mean, I'm definitely not looking, but if somebody
Sure.
wanted to be with me, you accept me as who I am, or you're not
Yeah. You don't have to be. Yeah.
yeah, you don't deserve me no way. So, but I mean,
Sure. Yeah,
I'm not looking at it.
exactly.
Yeah, but if it, particularly a younger woman or someone who is in the dating scene and looking that, may not make the same decisions or may not
Right.
feel as comfortable, and that's okay too. And that's the thing I found with cancer. It affects us all differently and how we deal with it.
Hmm.
And there's so many options, so many choices to make, which is one of the hardest things for me was trying to decide what I talked to as many breast cancer survivors that I could. I had women that I worked with at the time said, yeah, I've had,
Sure.
you want to see my surgery or what mine looked like, and it was so helpful to me, and I've been able to do the same thing because I'm not a private person. It's like it is what it is. We all have them.
Right, right, right.
And
This is a different issue. This
yeah,
is a
yeah,
different matter. Yeah, there's a different
exactly.
matter at hand.
So
Yeah.
it's like if you wanted to, if it could help somebody else make a decision that, hey, that's not bad, or yeah, that I can't do that,
Yeah.
helps them to be able, because I'm a visual person. So I wanted to see, really what's
What you were up for, what you were going to come out, so you wouldn't be so like shocked when you first saw yourself. And
exactly.
yeah, and you could be mentally a little bit mentally prepared, because I
Well,
would say that to not have that idea in your mind of what you were going to come out looking like, what to expect, it probably would have been pretty devastating.
oh yeah. Well, I've read stories too. Of course, I read anything I could get my hands on from other women's stories and their experiences, and a lot of women had said that, especially when they came out, if they didn't do the reconstruction, just seeing
Mhm.
their breasts just flat and bare, was a hard thing, and I could
Yeah.
imagine that would have been like been a emotional thing for me to look down
Yeah.
because we're just so used to you know we've got boobs, and I've never was very large anyway.
Mhm.
So but it's just I imagine it would be the same if you lost your arm or you're losing a body
Mhm.
part. So
Mhm.
just or even a finger or something like that. It's like
Sure.
a body part.
Sure, sure.
This is,
So let me ask you, your reconstruction, and you did the tummy tuck type reconstruction where they used your own body fat to do that. Has that been successful for you? I've heard all kinds of different stories about it. So, but has it been successful for you?
it was, except for the one side didn't take, and they had to go
Okay.
back in. But I think that's just, I mean, he said that, rarely does that happen. It's just one of those things that did, and they went back in. Like I said, they took my back muscle, and brought it around to rebuild it from there. Um, I would choose the same thing. Honestly,
Okay.
I've got scars. I've got a scar from one side to the other, but
Hmm.
I would have chosen the same thing. I mean, I've got a flatter tummy out of it than I probably normally would have had.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger boobs, so but and it was a longer
Recovery.
process, yeah, longer process and recovery. but for me, it was the right decision. I've never looked back. I've never regretted
Okay.
it. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm a big proponent for it.
Okay. I
But
think that's a great option though. If you've got if you're up for going for the longer recovery
mhm,
and everything and the longer surgery,
right.
then that's a really good option because of you're just not having to deal with the implants and having to go back in after a while and have them redone and that sort of thing. So,
That was kind of my thought process as well. It's like, okay, I don't have anything else, I don't have tattoos or anything else in my body.
mhm,
So I'm like, and I know I looked at the inserts, and they could leak. I know they're much better now than they used to be, even
right.
11 years ago. But
Uh-huh.
there was, and my doctor said they're completely safe, nothing to worry about there. But I'm like, hey, I got this fat, why not use it? And so that's kind of where I was at. I'm like, that's just, yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer, but hey, I've already been on, been put to sleep now, and I'm kind of old news at this, operation thing. So I'm like,
Yeah,
let's just go for it. And so, like I said, it was the right decision for me. It wasn't an easy process by no means, but it was definitely
right.
the
The good choice.
yeah, a
Well,
good
I'm
choice for me.
glad. I'm
Yep.
glad. And you know what? I'm glad that what we've been so open to share so much about the details and everything because
Mm.
I think, any woman who's ever going to be faced with this is needs to know. And you mentioned earlier about men getting it. I remember like back in 2005, maybe 2005, 2006. It was before we bought our franchise. So
Mhm.
um, it, I remember that the American Cancer Society had put out something at one time about about men can get breast cancer too, but that one of the reasons that women get breast cancer more often is because we're constantly putting lotions on our body
Mhm.
and there's toxins in those.
Yep.
And so that's one point. But you said that your mom had it. Now, did you get tested for the gene?
I did, and I'm
Okay.
glad you brought that up because I was positive that it was, a gene, clearly, because I had an aunt, my mom's closest sister, that
Uh-huh.
had gotten it when she was in her 40s.
Yeah.
So she had gotten it early and really struggled with it. She, fought it for almost 20 years, but she
Mhm.
had a lot of setbacks in that. And then my mom got it when she was 70, when another one of her sisters got it, like I think she was late 70s. Anyway, they didn't even do anything about it when they discovered hers because she had some other medical issues. And then I've had several cousins that had it. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, my chances are pretty high that I'm going to get hit with it at some point. So I already
Right.
had that in my mind. So then when I did get it, I'm like, okay, well, it's genetic. And of course, I went to genetic counseling at Vanderbilt. They really were interested in my case because so much family history, and I have two daughters. So
Right.
they tested me for it, which remarkably came back that it was not genetic.
Wow.
The counselor, though, however, she said, with your history, I'm sure that it is genetic. It's just not a gene that we've been able to identify yet. And she said,
Mm,
at some point they probably will be able to, but right now it's not.
sure.
So they did advise, of course, my daughters to start their mammograms very early, do the self breast exams, and to be definitely more cautious and more proactive with it. But
Yeah.
as far as it being the gene that they could identify, they could not,
Yeah.
which shocked me
Wow.
beyond, yeah, because I was positive it would, you know.
Was it the same type of breast cancer that your mom and your aunt had?
I'm not even sure what kind my aunt had, and actually, that's a good question. I'm not sure if it was the same type that my mom had. Now that I think about it,
So, because
I'm
I
not
know
sure
that Dawn has
actually.
a cousin. Dawn has a cousin on her dad's side, and
Mhm.
I'm hoping to be able to talk with her too. But they both had the same kind.
Hmm.
And Dawn went in for the genetic testing and she didn't have the gene for it. So Um, so it's really interesting though that her cousin on her dad's side of the family is the same, but there's not a gene there.
Hmm.
But anyway, it's everyone's is it, it's just hard to say.
It is. And it's so, cancer is, of any kind really, is so prevalent. And I think it's just a combination of just environmental, nutritionally,
Yeah,
and genetic. I think it's just a combination of all of those things. And,
sure.
um, you know, clearly they found that there is some genetic uh, connection with breast cancer, but then again, not always. So
Yeah. I,
um, it just,
I'm Dawn is calling me right now, so I'm telling her I'm zooming with you. Uh,
mm,
um, Okay, there we go. I'll call her back. So we've got, because she's got to do her story. She's not
oh,
done
yeah,
hers yet.
definitely.
So, yeah. But well, I mean, I know that they'll find out more. I think that we've learned a lot too. And I'm going to say this, and yeah, people can say what they want. But I think that post-COVID, we have learned a lot about natural healing and different
Mm-hmm.
things out there that are available that may be more preventative,
Mm-hmm.
and that sort of thing, that without having to go through a lot of the stuff that everybody has done. I mean, I don't know, we have there's so many different cancers, but I know personally of people who are doing some different things
I
and
would
are,
certainly, if I was in that position, I would certainly be trying
yeah,
different
different
options.
things,
Yeah,
and
nutritionally.
it's
Yeah,
working for them.
that's,
So I mean, one lady here in town that I know has been told to plan her funeral like three different times.
oh my goodness.
And then, I mean, she's been kicked out of clinical trials and everything because she goes back on this regimen, this thing, and she goes back in, and then the tumors have all shrunk. And
Fantastic.
so, yeah, she truly believes that God allowed this in her life so that she can share these options and
That's
what it's doing for her. So,
absolutely.
so,
Absolutely.
but it's not, she doesn't have breast cancer, but it's a different form. So,
Hmm.
but it's a different kind of cancer.
It's,
So, but
yeah.
anyway, but it's working. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, she even went skydiving. They told her to for her
Yeah,
bucket list, and
see,
she goes skydiving. And
that is
so,
victory. Victory. And
yeah,
I believe
yeah,
that. I really believe that we may not know what it is, but I believe that God put everything on earth to heal us.
yes,
And and we don't know what it is. Now, I'm not to say there's not a place for medicine, and I'm thankful for the medicine and the
yeah,
researchers and everybody who comes up with, a lot of these things. But I do also believe at the same time that a lot of these pharmaceuticals are killing us rather than healing us. And
yeah.
so, I mean, we've just got to be vigilant about our own health and
I agree.
doing
I
our own
agree.
research
Yeah.
and,
I think
going
you
with
have
our
to
heart.
do, everyone's got to make up their own decision and they have to be at peace about it. And you can't
Absolutely.
question unless you're in their shoes, and you're never
Mhm.
going to be in their shoes, you cannot question their decisions and the
Never,
route that they've chosen. So no,
never.
you can't. Yeah.
No, because you've got to make your own decisions. And even with me, my family didn't always agree with my decisions, but I'm like, no, this is me. And like I said, I spent a lot of time in prayer, and it's like, God, you lead me. You tell me what's right, what I need to do, and I'll follow you. And I just kind of
Yeah.
went with what I felt in my heart it was the right thing. And like I said, I would, I've always prayed, God, put it on the wall in writing. I'm dense. I can't, because I don't
Put
always
it right in
know.
front of me.
Yeah, it's like I need you to write it, write it in the sand,
Yeah.
write it in dirt. I was like, I need to know. But so I can't just say that God told me this or God told me that. But I feel like that His Spirit leads me, and like I said, now on this end of it, I feel like that I would not have done anything differently.
Yeah.
And I, like I said, I'm 11 years out, and I praise God for that. I had wonderful
Yeah.
doctors, wonderful friends and family that all supported me and prayed for me. And just I'm just thankful for every day. And
every
So
day.
hope I can
Yeah.
share that with other women and
Well, hopefully this
yeah.
is going to get out there to a lot of people because I'm going to put it on a YouTube and then it'll be also in her Dash for the Cure
Oh,
page and stuff. I
great.
think she changed the scooters for Hooters to Dash for the Cure.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
I'm not sure. I think she did that. So I've got to get all that out there. So, but
Oh,
thank you so much. And you know what? I so enjoyed it. When you come back to East Tennessee, I'm going to message you my phone number. I would love for us to get together and have lunch or something. That's what we
yes,
did the
I
first
would.
time we met.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I would love to do that. It's just, I'm always over there for such a short period, and I'm remodeling my parents' farmhouse. I've got
Okay.
a house
And that's
and
in Dandridge, right? In that
in Danbury.
area?
Yeah, right off of
Yeah.
exit
Okay.
412. And so I'm very busy trying to get that done, and I'm just like all over the place. I'm like I'm busier now than I was. I think that than I've ever been, and I'm just like, but I love it. It keeps. I feel like it keeps
Yeah.
me young. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's aging me. I don't know, but just
No,
being up
you're
here.
vibrant. You're
Yeah.
vibrant. That's
So, but
wonderful.
yeah, I would love to get together, Sharon. I've
Okay.
enjoyed the conversation too. I appreciate you inviting
Yes.
me and allowing me to share my story, and hopefully it can inspire someone else.
I believe that it will. I know it
Okay.
will. So
All
you
right.
take
Great.
care and we will talk. I'll message you my number. Okay.
Sounds
All
fantastic.
right.
All right. See
Thanks.
you, my friend. Bye bye.
Bye.